KISSA In-Store Radio, broadcasts for the curious.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of KISSA In-Store Radio one-off with Michael Strangler. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Mikhail Stangl, but it doesn't matter really.
I did not pronounce it correctly. Better known as Opium Hum. Michael, I first got to know of you when a very naive self of mine was going through YouTube back in 2013 or 2014, and I just discovered Boiler Room, and there you were giving an introduction to David August, and that was my introduction to you, and over a period of time I sort of started seeing you as the face of Boiler Room essentially in all the videos, and I was like, who is this guy? I need to find out. But yeah, super happy to be here in conversation with you, Mikhail, and welcome to KISSA In-Store Radio.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah, Mikhail, you are now on your South Asia tour, which I think started with India, and after this you're going to China, I believe.
Yes.
And you started the tour with Bombay, and then Bangalore, Goa, and now you are in Delhi, where you played last night for Future Funk and
Yes.
Mixed Feelings. How has it been so far?
The tour so far has been absolutely incredible in every way possible. The generosity and the hospitality of the local organizers that have been hosting me has been just overwhelming. I've really rarely, received so much kindness, and the parties were banging. Like the kids really, really like to dance here, and they seem to like to dance to the music that I play. And as a DJ, there's really no better combination.
Okay, nice. And what would you say, how has the Indian, you already said that the Indian audience was really receptive, but do you think it's a fair game to compare the Indian audience with, you've toured the world essentially now, how do you see the Indian audience receiving your music and the kind of music in comparison to the other worlds that you've traversed?
One thing that I can definitely say is that the young people in India really, really like to dance, and they do not, hide their intention at all.
Yeah.
So the level of acceleration you see on the dance floor is just absolutely incredible. I can only compare it maybe to South America, Brazil, where people go in as much.
Wow.
And also one thing that also really, really gave me a lot of joy is, so I play a lot of kind of polyrhythmic music, a lot of stuff that is like percussive, not like just straight forward to the floor. I'm not a techno DJ in a not at all really. I can, but I'm interested in other things. And it's absolutely incredible how particularly the Indian audience is really going with the drum beat, and even if the drum beat gets more complex, if it gets layered, if it's many things that would have overwhelmed or alienated other audiences, particularly in Berlin, here anything goes, and that's also fantastic.
That's good to know, and I think that also comes from our very early association with polyrhythmic music. I feel like, back in school we had like this weird prayer which was in a 7x4 sort of meter, and I was just like, later when I was going through my percussive sort of curriculum, I sort of got to know how complex rhythms are very early on introduced to us as the Indian audience. But that's great to know. Mikhail, how, this is a question which comes from my own personal observation of your practice, but you're not just a practitioner, you're not just a DJ, I would say. You are, in my opinion, you are somebody who builds and sustains cultural infrastructures around electronic dance music. How accurate am I in my reading?
To be honest, I would love on one hand to be just a DJ, but I don't think I'd be able to be just a DJ, just because what I do, what I get engaged with is such a all-encompassing project, that touches on every aspect of dance music culture as a political space, as a social space, as a utopian space, and therefore, just to fulfill the role of the DJ would not really do justice to my interest to that. And to maybe answer your question of what I actually do, I came to realize that I deal to the large extent with the question of agency. I think that anything that I do is an attempt to provide artists or the audiences or anyone really involved, embedded into these spaces that I frequent, that I try to build, to allow them to kind of reclaim or claim agency. And I mean with agency really, on one hand, as a political category, so, the performative space as, to create meaning, to kind of claim space, to like experiment, but also all the platforms that I've built over the years, I've been involved with over the years, they are also a way to claim that space and to, claim agency on behalf of yourself or of whatever community, you on behalf of which community you speak. So I think that is what interests me the most, and ultimately, I've been kind of oscillating towards projects that allow to do that at a certain scale. It's really, really important to do this in your immediate environment, to do something for your immediate community, do small, things that have an immediate impact. But I found myself, I think, capable or hyperactive enough to do this in ways that it allows many people worldwide to kind of participate in that. So yeah, agency is what I think I'm most interested in.
So I think the cultural infrastructures that I'm talking about they are just the byproduct of this association or this idea that you have of agency, of understanding agency and working with it in that sense.
I mean, ultimately, so it's fine. I mean, obviously, you came across my work on YouTube because, as much as I would want or not, this is something that I will never be able to erase from my history. After all, I hosted, I don't know, thousands of artists on Boiler Room for well over a decade. And that is ultimately, my interest in the format initially when 2010, I became acquainted with it and reached out to Boiler Room for the first time, like very early on in its history. My interest in that really was sparked by the possibility of creating a continuous archive of culture while it was happening, in the spaces it was happening in, and under the participation of the people that were making it happen. So really, as I mentioned in our pre-conversation, I have like I studied sociology with a focus on media archaeology. So the internet as an archive, and I mean, these days this sounds like the most stupid thing to say, but in 2010, YouTube had only started very recently. Facebook didn't even have a like button, I believe, at that time, which, like some fundamental technologies that really changed everything about how we engage with society and culture. But, to create this archive, to claim the space, to be like, okay, here we have all these things that are like dispersed, and like globally kind of spread out, not really connected. Let's create a way that makes this connection visible and the scale of it visible. So that's I think the approach.
That's really interesting also, because I mean, it's funny that you bring this up, because when we were setting up this radio, and we'll get to the question of radios later, but when we were setting up this radio, two things we decided. One was to go live because we are a radio, not to record things and then put them up on the archive later. And the second thing we thought, it wasn't really a thought. It was just like, we have to do a video recording, because the cultural capital of electronic music is now increasingly associated with with putting a camera on the DJ, and I feel like
I'm sorry.
No, well. But not to sort of point any fingers, but this is just something that you can say a shift that has happened since the early days, or since the first 5 years of YouTube, I would say, especially which corresponded to this idea of Boiler Room. But then also there are folks who compare, and not just to box Boiler Room, also in, because since then there has been this sort of ever increasing spread of platforms who have taken up this format, which some folks claim that it has changed clubbing. Do you think that is?
I mean, you know, like, so you also made the point about infrastructure, you know, and I do think that a lot of healthy subculture and kind of alternative culture always comes down to community-owned infrastructure. I find that the communities that have shared infrastructure are the ones that are doing the best, you know, versus communities that have some sort of internal, you know, fight for resources. So to set up these communal infrastructures, that was ultimately the intent. Now that, you know, late stage capitalism and the way that media, particularly short form media, has developed, you know, this is something that I don't think you could have really envisioned until maybe 2018 or so, you know. So until that point, of course, the interest was, how do we create a blueprint? You know, for me, it was really interested, and, you know, like, not to talk too much about Boiler Room because I've moved on from Boiler Room. But, you know, like, even in its early stages, I had originally suggested that it would be made a artists and workers cooperative, because in my opinion, it was, you know, it was infrastructure really, and it was not supposed to be a media company. It was supposed to be a media network that benefits, you know, global electronic music culture. So ultimately that project failed in one way or the other. And then on top of that, we have, you know, the emergence of short form media, you know, that of course has changed not only club culture, it's changed, you know, tourism, it changed gastronomy, it changed really everything, political discourse. So I think that to say, you know, like, to say, okay, these broadcast formats changed club culture is unfair, given the fact how the media environment changed all of society, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but ultimately, yes, it also has created a certain, you know, like, every medium can be perverted into, you know, some sort of abomination. So whereas it was about, you know, how do we document culture, it, with the rise of influencer culture, it put the DJ into the center versus, you know, the organism that the DJ was embedded in, you know. And you can also trace the change from, if you look at, for example, Boiler Room shows that I executive produced, you know, what's on camera and what the focus is, and now, you know, the corporate version of it, which is really optimized for that 15-second reel, and everything else is absolutely secondary, you know. So yeah.
And that's also our first association with, or the first impact, the way that we sort of consume these sort of new age, I don't know, newer contemporary Boiler Room videos is through that short form, and then sort of it evolves into something that, okay, I look forward to the premiere because I've already seen the 15-second reel on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I mean, TikTok doesn't work here in India, but you get the gist. But that's great. That's good to know. Mikhail, you also have been working with this sort of initiative called Hyper Reel.
I mean, it's a collective of which I'm the only member.
That's a fair way to put it. Like, the collective of Antrix Records, of which I'm the only member. So I get where you're coming from. But this...
So, I mean, super brief, because Hyper Reel is... it started originally 11 years ago when I really got bored of doing parties at Berghain, which is something that can happen. And I wanted just to reset what I was doing in with a party, doing it more experimental, kind of more small scale, a bit more, you know, focused on the dance floor and at the people in the room versus, you know, what Berghain was becoming at that time. And that party then turned into a weekly Friday night radio show on national FM radio, you know, called Hyper Real Radio. And that unfortunately ended during the pandemic. And to continue, I actually met somebody yesterday who told me that he was in his teenage bedroom listening because I was hosting the show so in English, he was listening from Delhi to a German radio show and exploring, discovering a lot of music. So to continue that, I turned it into an online community, which is a Telegram channel, Instagram channel, and like many thousand people worldwide that get a daily music recommendation from me, and I hope to expand it into something a little bit really more community driven, but there's only so much time, and I tend to have more hobbies than time.
That's fair. But over here I also had this sort of question that there is this you felt the need to do this sort of an alternative curation, if I may call it. But then it is, I mean, at least this is what I feel when I sort of come up with an idea or or an initiative, is that the alternative forms of curation are also, they're pouring back into a market which is a market, right? And the market is subject to these sort of forces of how the capital moves or how the logistical sort of barriers are set in place, and we have to sort of navigate through that maze of whatever late stage capitalist culture emerges out of. And I was just wondering if there is anything uniquely sort of alternative that can come up or out of this need of actually truly being alternative, because I feel like at least this is coming from a really sort of experiential way of observing my limitations around me, is that the alternative is again poured back into this market which sort of prefers or platforms the mainstream first and foremost. So how do you see this sort of a dichotomy?
Okay, interesting question. I mean, maybe to circle back to Hyperreal. The intention, by the way, was also particularly this group of like sharing music every day. Is I didn't want to be a gatekeeper. I have the privilege of having such a vast network of really knowledgeable people that expose me to so much music that I, like my expertise in this is somewhat meaningless, because I'm also only like, lucky to see things that other people see, and to commodify that and be like, oh, the only way you can experience my great curatorial acumen is to pay me to DJ is wrong in my opinion. So it's also like a diary of sorts of my own research. So, for example, if you hear me play, most of the tracks that I play, if you are in that group, you've already, if you pay attention, heard months ago, And this is the thing. So I want people really, really, to participate in that and not, to be like, oh, I'm the DJ, I dig, I play for money, and this is, the way you can engage with what I do. So it is really like kind of open sourcing the process. But ultimately, I mean, capital and capitalism has been, co-opting dance music culture, particularly in the last 10 years, in ways that is devastating. These days you hear tracks being played in underground clubs and venues that 5 years or 10 years ago I would have dragged you by the nostrils out of the DJ booth, like this. I would have dragged you out of the DJ booth for the kind of music that some people play, just because ultimately also underground music has, or mainstream culture has also figured out a blueprint where, people can go from one SoundCloud upload to a Charlie XCX producer, within like 3 months. And a lot of, I mean, this is capitalism. It's very smart at optimizing processes. So a lot of people, look at this and they optimize their own process so that the music gets more and more polished, and particularly, already using all the aesthetics and the strategies of pop culture. Not pop culture, but pop in particular. And this is something that I personally really, really not reject, but not a big fan of. One example would be pop edits in the club. Yes, there's communities where pop edits are important way of communicating, like Jersey Club, Baltimore
Yeah.
Club, where certain tracks will be immediately adapted by producers and then turned into something as a conversation, which is important. But this is most cases not the case. These are just pop edits, and they take up space, and they're also, again, established formal languages that I think electronic music is really good at overcoming and questioning, but yet, this is being pushed back into the same kind of structure, into the same format that is easily consumable. And it's also like, from a DJ perspective, this is an absolute nightmare. Like, I playing back to back, for example, with someone who plays pop edits, you can be knowledgeable, you can play the best banger, and then your back-to-back partner follows up with a Rihanna edit, hands in the air. You follow up with like some really cool fucking deep cut. Audience is shuffling their feet until the next pop edit, and then again hands in the air. And this also distorts, what also the listening practices that are in electronic music. A lot of club music is, I think, hypnotic in a way, because it lacks. I mean, one would say, Mikhail, I heard you play yesterday. There's nothing hypnotic about it. It was just like peak for 90 minutes. It was just the job that I was booked for, you know. But a lot of the music allows you, to listen in a different way. And pop music predefines the way you approach listening in the club, and I think not in a good way.
Interesting. That reminds me also that you have time and time stated and reinstated that if you are a DJ who's gatekeeping track lists, then you are really doing it for your own self and not for music sort of curation and discovery, which is a great way to approach.
I mean, the old heads would disagree because, there's also this white label culture of where there's certain tunes that only a couple of DJ have, and for a decade there's only these 3, 4, 5 people have the tune, and it will never be revealed what the name or what the tune is. It's of course, there's exceptions to the rule, like I will not argue with the VIP folder of a Mala or of a Khan, dear friends of mine who just have tracks that are produced exclusively for them, but in general it's and it's more it's more like a process oriented criticism, because there's a lot of DJs who do all these radio sets, all these SoundCloud shows, and it's just like good housekeeping, it's literally the bare minimum. It is the bare minimum that people should be doing, because else you produce kind of, I wouldn't say slop, but it's fairly easy, You all you need to do is to press express on your software and you have a track list, It's not that you have to sit down with a pen and paper and write these things, then type it on a typewriter, So I just would encourage people to take these things a little bit more serious. Music culture will benefit from it.
Clearly. But then you also took Hyperreal, if I'm not mistaken, and it is now currently, I'm not sure, please correct me if I'm wrong, if it is still a part of CTM Festival.
No, it's not at all connected.
Okay.
It's just my own little silly project.
Okay, that's good to know. But then you also have your institutional phase of your practice, which is the CTM Festival, which I wanted to come to, which we have actually already discussed a bit. But what do you do with the festival, and what is your role particularly over there?
So CTM Festival is a annual festival for experimental music, new forms of dance music, experimental art, and a kind of related discourse. So it's we always say like CTM stands or is short for constantly too much, because it's a 10-day festival spread out across 20 odd venues that go really from nightclubs like Berghain or RSO to theaters like Hebel am Ufer or Radialsystem, from galleries to all sorts of spaces, and it's 10 days all day long, which means it really starts in the morning with a daytime discourse program with workshops, and then goes into the late night with concerts, raves, and so forth and so on. And we bring together, depending on the budget we have, but usually about 350 artists from like 30 to 40 countries, into the city, from for all sorts, things that artists would do at such a festival. And I am one of the curators, a team of 4 curators who deal with pretty much every aspect of the festival. I mean, I'm not particularly involved, like when we have an exhibition, we have specialized people for that. The daytime program, of course, contribute to ideas, but we also have, somebody dedicated who, is particularly embedded into the academic world that surrounds, sound studies and the kind of media studies that are relevant to us. But I'm really responsible for everything, that makes a sound or makes a person make a sound on stage, off stage, or somewhere at the festival. And I've been doing this now for 15 years, which is a really long time. The festival has been around for 27 years. And funny enough, it's also the reason why I moved to Berlin. I saw when I was young a poster with all the breakcore artists that I liked at that time, and thought, if this is happening in Berlin, I have to move to Berlin. And I didn't know by then that this was a CTM festival event. So ultimately, that's what I did. But what's beautiful about being, a curator at a festival like CTM is that you really can engage with music culture in a level of depth and complexity that regular party programming will not allow you to, because the mindset is a different one. So we are a curated festival in a sense. So each year we come up with a lead topic, like a lead theme, and we try to find ways how all the things that we program correspond with the topic that we've chosen, which means that you really focus more on what is the story you want to tell versus what's hip and on the market and touring right now. So we go to great lengths and many inconveniences to kind of find the things that fit really our vision of culture in that year versus, just taking pitches from booking agencies or what have you. And also, CTM Festival grew really out of these self-organized and self-governed spaces. It was originally, I was not there when it started because I was too young, but it originally started as, finding a way how to create a platform for all the art forms that came out of the club that were not really taken serious on an institutional level. So the idea was like, hey, let's create our own, kind of showcase of what's happening, in visual arts and experimental music in the club. And over the years, we really established an institution of sorts ourselves, which became very good at using the, let's say, infrastructural privilege we have in Berlin, access to many spaces, to a healthy amount of funding, even though it's never enough and it's currently devastatingly complicated, but compared to the rest of the world, it's still a very good landscape. How can we, take that and redistribute it with all the other practitioners worldwide that do a similar work, which means that CTM is also an amalgamation of the work of many other people that we try to bring in, but also in a reciprocal way, which means it's not just like, inviting people to play, but we engage in long-term collaborations, residencies, or just partnerships that are not abandoned after, the curtain falls, but engage with certain areas very long. For example, Southeast Asia is a region that we've been very, very deeply engaged with for nearly 10 years now, maintaining a tight network of co-curators, but also, helping to set up things, like, is this an exchange for us? What we do needs to be an exchange and not like a festival as something that sells a ticket. For us, it's an organism and really, an ecosystem.
There's a longevity to it as well, an ever-evolving longevity, if I may. But that's great, and that also brings me to this, the latest initiative of yours, which is also where my observation of you as a practitioner of cultural infrastructures comes in, is the Community Radio Index, which you have just launched about
3 weeks ago.
2 months, 1 month?
No, 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks. 4 weeks max.
So that is the latest initiative that you have worked on. I don't just want to ask you where did that come from. I want to tie it to your previous answer about agency. How do you see this new platform evolve or engage with this idea of working with agency?
I mean, when talking about Community Radio Index, I need to give a shout out to my partner in crime, Robbie, who's done the job of actually building the platform. He's an incredibly gifted engineer who's been working for many years in community radio infrastructure. He's also involved with Hong Kong Community Radio. So shout out to him, because without him, it would have remained a spreadsheet of radios, and not just such a beautiful interface. I mean, ultimately, again, I was very surprised to see that there was no such thing, and if you don't create the visibility for this vast network of radios and projects and communities that try to broadcast what they do, then you miss out on you miss out at claiming the space. If there's no map, how can people identify the vastness of it? You know what I mean? And even I, after the initial research where I thought, wow, there's so much more than, I thought there is. And the moment we launched, we now, I think, have 3 times more stations in the index, you know. Wow. I don't know the newest figure. I would have to look on my phone how many stations we have now in the index, but I think we're now somewhere over 600.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Worldwide in the most amazing spaces. And this was also like a real awakening for a lot of us radio practitioners, because they saw, okay, what we do is because it sometimes feels insular, that there are other, of course, there are other people doing it, but then all of a sudden you become aware of how much there is. So our hope, of course, for the platform is that, we do not want, to take any attention away from any of the radios themselves. We rather want to guide attention towards what they do and find ways to how to amplify what they do. Because when you have like a kind of central entity, there's a lot of information dissemination that you can do that everyone will benefit from. So, I mean, midterm, long term, of course, we would love to create also a repository of all the people that are involved with radio, so that you actually can look who are actually the hosts, what are the shows, what are the topics, what are the schedules, and also address the kind of curatorial gap in online broadcast, because the problem is all of these community radios often work really, they produce a lot of content, often with very little resources, which means there's no aftercare whatsoever. So a lot of really good content is dying a slow death in the archive sections of the radio stations, because the radio stations themselves don't have the capacity to highlight things beyond the upload, and the hosts usually have a very limited platform on their own, so it's as if it never happened, and that's not okay for me, because I discover so often so many interesting things that inspire me, and I want other people to be able to discover them. So that's something we think about right now, and ultimately I hope we find an institutional partner that allows us to run a community radio incubator of sorts, because we've been also already approached by so many people from so many places where, and this is the thing, like to set up a community radio can be either incredibly easy or incredibly hard, depending on what is like your geographical, location and what is the infrastructure on the ground, like here it's fairly easy to find a space like this and the equipment to start a radio, there's quite a lot of places where the equipment doesn't exist and the spaces do not exist. So you need also, or the format is in itself is maybe not as relevant as it has been established right now. So you have to find ways how can you address that, but also allow people to create these platforms that create visibility. So yeah, these are the things. But again, more fucking, pardon my French, more time and more hobbies than really time, because Community Radio Index, I thought it's something that we launched and it'll be fun, and now it's been like basically a full-time job for like a couple of weeks, and it's cool, but I mean, like we've also made 16 euros in donations since we launched, so at least, we can buy ourselves a pizza when we celebrate the success.
So we'll buy you a pizza after this show. But Mikhail, thank you so much. My last question to you before you launch your set. Do you have any advice to give to the 3 people who are listening to our radio and the 3 who are sitting here?
I mean, this is this is, now you're cornering me, in terms of what to advice to give. I mean, ultimately is to to just do, because the main defining difference that I found in my career to other people is that they don't. Like, I think the only reasons why I had certain successes because I just did things, and particularly did things without being not being afraid of failure, but whenever I start something, I don't know if I will succeed or what the road is. I just have a hunch, that there might be a direction, and to lose that inhibition, that fear of failing, is a superpower. And so that's what I can recommend to people. Just do things, and things will blossom from there. And always do things in community. I've not achieved anything by myself ever in my life, so always find like-minded people, and don't be afraid about sharing the success. There's enough of it for everyone.
That's a beautiful thought to end this chat with. Thank you so much, Mikhail. Again, I am pronouncing it terribly, but ladies and gentlemen, Opium Hum for the next 1 hour on the KISSA In-Store Radio, brought to you live and direct out of the Veg Non-Veg Gurgaon store, curated by Antrix Records. Mikhail, take it away.
All right.
KISSA In-Store Radio, broadcasts for the curious.
Maybe a few introductory words about the set. So I have been very, very infatuated and interested and fascinated by GOM, or GOM as I will refer to it going forward, which is a South African dance music genre that started in the early 2010s in Durban in South Africa. And it is a genre that continues to evolve, continues to find new forms, and continues to blossom. It's very, very exciting, but also over the last few years, it created a lot of influence and reverberations and intersections with other electronic music, dance music genres. And I feel that it's not talked enough about its influence as it should. Like the way people talk about the influence of dubstep on pop music, on pop culture, the influence of footwork, on pop culture. And GOM has done that equally. And so I went into my collection of tracks and selected a series of tracks that in one way or the other cite GOM or use its formal language or certain sounds, without being specifically it, even though some tracks are also very, very pure GOM in its nature. So it will be quite a big spread of music, going from Brazil to Indonesia, from Japan to China, to all over the world, and I do hope it will be enjoyable for you to listen to. So let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. Maybe worth mentioning here, this is a track by an artist called Lalo Arenal. Comes out on Rampak G, a label out of Indonesia, of Yogyakarta, run by my friend San Jonas. It's not out yet, but there's this community of Indonesian artists that make some of the most craziest hybrid music there is, all centered around GOM. I'll play a few more of their tunes later. And before that was Purita Sasao by a producer out of New Jersey called Wilhelmina, originally from the Philippines, I believe. Also fantastic and talented young man. An older number by Tsu Sing out of Taiwan. Came out on Pun Records, I think in 2018. Yeah, the album was called Green Hat. Tsu Sing, also worth checking out. Particularly his label Sea Cucumber. Also wild stuff. This is a track by GLZ, a young producer from Brasilia in Brazil. You know, you might live in Sao Paulo now, called Shaka Zulu. And it's, in my opinion, but don't quote me on it, one of the first examples of a Brazilian artist embracing GOM as a genre. And you'll find that GOM and a lot of like Afro-Brazilian music really correspond with each other in terms of drum beat, drum patterns, and GLZ is one of the producers who masterfully showcases that. And there's obviously no electronic music genre that would not be picked up on and innovated by the British. And this is a track by Obeka out of Manchester. And leading into that is a kind of UK GOM collaboration with the man Scratcher Cloud, Scratcher DBA, showing that particularly in UK there's like an interesting hybridity of sound going on. This is a track by Xiao Kwan called Sweat from the GOM Deconstructed Club EP, a Brazilian producer who, when he produced this, and I think started making music, used to live in China. Also, very much worth checking out, and this will be followed by some more Indonesian amazingness. If you would have told me about 15 years ago, 12 years ago, when I started to listen to GOM, there would be at some point Indonesian gamelan GOM, I would have sent you right home. But here we are, and it's about to get wild, so listen closely.
Switching.
Make it louder.
So to the question, how many genres can you fit into one track? Shakib from Yogyakarta said yes. So this is the Durban Funk VIP, an unofficial remix by Tino. In my opinion, one of the most skilled, gifted, and most interesting and unique producers worldwide right now. Surinamese Dutch. Please check everything out that he does. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And that's a remix of a tune called Durban Funk by State Of, a South African GOM producer also based in Amsterdam, who's actually touring in India right now. I think he played 2 days ago in Delhi and tonight in Bangalore. But ultimately a perfect hybrid of baile funk, Surinamese club music, and kind of Dutch take on club music, GOM. It's all the hybrid things we love. And now I missed my cue point for the next track, so let's get to it. So this is a showcase of the Japanese GOM community, a track by Gomzilla, coming out of a group of artists whose part like DJ Kato, DJ Moro, Tsumu Tsumu, a lot of fantastic producers that kind of established their own take on the genre, which is also influenced in parts by a Japanese music genre called Gorge, completely different rabbit hole, music inspired by mountaineering, but Gomzilla, a burner. This is Dharma Doom. You won't turn this off. Producer, if I'm not mistaken, out of Latvia or Estonia. Definitely part of a community collective called Shelter, and from their latest compilation. And now the next track is what happens when German drum and bass producers get onto the GOM tip. Submarine is the producer of this track. You might know him from Alex Perez 1985 label, so he's like one of the drum bass greats, and this is a tune that he made very recently, and I believe I'm the very few people that have it. I got it like literally the day he made it in his studio, and it's absolutely incredible, and you'll hear why soon. This Power Strike by Pour Jadar, young producer out of Athens in Greece, released this on Madam X KISSA label last year, in spring last year, and also showcases the global virality of the genre. One of my all-time favorite producers, Tsumo out of Tokyo. There's a few tracks that cover a particular niche interest of mine, which is the intersection of gom and drill. I think there's like 3 tracks in that genre, and this is one of the better ones, called Hollow. This one's by Kush Aurora, also known as Only Now, from San Francisco, with Darama. I'm not sure if Darama, I think he's a local cool cat, right? Or Indian? No? Oh, okay. I can't hear you, but the audience seems to know who Darama is. Yes, one of the other 3 tracks that combine gom and drill and some flutes. So when I said there's 3 tracks that combine gom and drill, the third track that I know is by a producer called Swimful. Now this is a track by Swimful called Translation to Haven. Came out on Subcult multiple years ago, and on that EP is that other gom drill hybrid, but I'm not gonna play it now, but check it out.
I think it's time.
Okay, really quick. This was a Miss J remix of Big Tune by Half Of, which is Half Queen and State Of, and it basically brings in new metal, Vogue, ballroom, big room EDM, everything into one absolutely mind-blowing package. So yes, Miss J, incredible producer and remixer. This was Cicadas for Mangione, for our working class king Luigi Mangione, by an Italian producer called Futura Cimice. Just came out on Fuckstep last week. It's IDM drill, like IDM gom noise stuff, and this is Sonia Kaliko, the curator of Global Festival in Taiwan, with a fantastic track called Tiangbu VIP. Maybe also for the sake of argument, most GOM tracks are usually at around 127, 128, 126. I tend to play them a little bit faster. Also, a lot of UK GOM is pushing way beyond the 130, 135, but a lot of the hybrid tracks, they are all over the place. But usually GOM more like 126, 127 than 140 or beyond. Take notes if you need. It's a track called Host Link Up by Zora Jones and DJ Polo. Zora Jones out of Vienna. I think she lives in Barcelona right now. DJ Polo, one of the UK greats. And this is like GOM meets Jersey Club or Baltimore Club and a lot of polyrhythmic greatness with a beautiful message. Host Link Up. You know, I'm a hoe, he's a hoe, she's a hoe, we some hoes. Wouldn't you like to be a hoe too? I mentioned him earlier, Tino, T-N-O. He released about half a year ago on his Bandcamp. It's called Archives. It's 70 tracks of stuff that he was like, I just want to get it out there because it's on my hard drive. There's more greatness in this throwaway release of his than most artists have in their whole career. So please check it out, because he's the master of these like pitched FM percussion elements that are so prevalent in GOM. sorry for the confusion just here. This is a track by Thirsty Poke. I don't know anything about the producer. He's completely anonymous. Claims to be operating out of a lab somewhere in the Arctic, whether that's true or not. But releases here and there, not so much. But very, very intricate drum programming. Okay, we are wrapping this up with the last track of the night. It's by a producer called Dirty K, operating out of Shanghai, and it's a collaboration with Tsumutsumu out of Tokyo called Miyogi. And this was me, Opium out of Berlin. Thank you so much for the invitation. I do hope that inspired you to dig a little bit deeper into the hybridity of all sorts of dance music genres, not only GOM. And please, if you discover GOM through this, go to the starting point, listen to the South African artists first and then dig deeper, because it is from Durban, it is from South Africa, so learn the history first and then go all in. Thank you so much.
Il me chante.